Let's go to the top of Empire State Building. I think I love you.
I was in business class. I'm like all in my little blanket, you know, like stretched out and laid out, and I feel the plane start shaking and woo, 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 like just kind of pull your blanket,
roll over.
You just kind of pull your blanket and roll over. Yeah, where can I heat this up at?
Yeah. Can I borrow your oven?
Yeah, what's your oven set out right now? One of the things I had scratched down, you know, because I have to be prepared for podcasts now. You know, we're producing regular shows now.
Are we recording?
Yes, we're about 34 minutes into this thing.
Oh
I
wow!
was scratching down some notes, and I was going to talk about, of course, this we got coming up on the comedy couch, and then it you know, one of the things that comes to mind is we get people who are sending us their electronic press kits these days a lot.
Oh wow!
And you know, I think if you're a comedian out there, have your electronic press kit, have some clips, have some videos of yourself, have your social media, have, for God's sakes, have professional headshots. You know, that's one of the things that tears me up quite a bit as a producer. Is they're like, hey, I want to come and do the show, and then the only thing they have is like their Facebook profile photos or their Instagram profile photos. I'm like, brother, I need you to have some like headshots, because you know we have to produce like sharp, good looking stuff.
Yeah, don't go to the mall and get a fucking glamour shot.
You know, that probably wouldn't be the worst idea. But one of the things that always it kind of catches my eye nowadays is people lead heavily with the number of followers they have. They're like, oh yeah, you know, on TikTok, I have 25,000 followers. On Instagram, I have another 500,000 followers. But I always kind of stress there is a difference between attention that you're getting online and the actual talent that you have.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because you might have that one person who did one TikTok video 3 years ago and it went viral, and then they're like, oh yeah, well, I'm really talented now, and I have like all this abilities and shit. Like, man, chill out. Like, I need your videos. I need to see if you're an actual stand-up comedian, not just one person who made a funny video. And honestly, that's how a lot of actual comics that we know stay constantly in people's algorithms.
They stay relevant.
Relevant, I think, is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to stay in people's algorithms in order to get booked and be seen and stuff like that. So there's like legitimately funny people who are just making videos. But then there's also people who just happen to make a couple of viral videos, and then they want to ride the wave of funny. So they're like, well, how do I do that? Well, I'll just go do stand-up comedy. And I think those are two very different worlds.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you're talking about an influencer, I guess you could call them, or whatever the fuck they call them nowadays, and standing in front of a room of, I don't know, even 50 or 60 people like we do at Patty's, and keeping the room and doing comedy. And as well as I do, I don't do comedy near as much as I used to. And because, I kind of gave up on the whole, I'm just too lazy to get my ass out the door to go to open mics, but God bless the guys out there that do that, to just push it all the time. But yeah, there's a science to comedy, and there's a way of keeping a room, and and if you start losing a room, you've got to get them back. Especially if you're up there for 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. If you lose the room right out of the gate, you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why nobody really likes to be first on anybody's show. Nobody likes to be first. And, one of the hard parts too is, like, I've hosted shows, even like recently, like really great shows where you're the host and the opener. And if you don't seal that room immediately, that you have to go up there and face them again, because especially if you're the host and the opener, then you're introducing the feature, and then you go back up there and you have to do a little bit more time and then introduce the headliner, or whether it's a co-headliner, however they want to package that whole thing up.
Yeah. If you don't set the tone in the room, that's a lot of pressure. And even if you're just like an opener, even if you're just the first one that gets pulled out of the bucket at an open mic, you're like, oh man, this sucks. I have to go first. I have to open and everything. You know, the way that I look at it, use that as an opportunity to challenge yourself, and you set the tone for the freaking room. I mean, you're setting the show. This is on you. Take this as an opportunity to prove your worth.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. Being first out of the bucket, especially if you are a really good comic, it's kind of like I feel bad for the rest of the roster. I feel bad for the rest of the people, type situation. Not saying that I'm like, some savant comic, but, I can hold my own. I've done 40, 45 minutes in a room, several times. And like, I always feel like, I always feel actually when I have the audience where you want them, you kind of got to keep them in that pocket.
Yeah.
You got to hold them there for the entirety of your set. And one of the things that I've been really stressing on in the past year or so in my comedy writing is I really love the seamless transition from one joke to another. You don't even know that it's happening, but it just feels like one continuous, like long story, but there's multiple jokes that are slotted in there.
When you can put together a set, and you tie the whole thing together with segues and everything, and you just phase it from one to another, and you don't even realize that it's going on until you're in the next joke and everything. So yeah.
I've got the one now that I'm working with where this is a good example too, where I had a joke concept about being handy as an adult, but you had to learn it as a trade because you come from divorced parents where you're your father's employee and you're forklift certified. It's funny, because you're like, okay, you grew up as a kid, but you grew up with a dad who wanted you to like read maps and shit. That's where this whole thing came from. Yeah, is like, hey, there was a time before GPS, so I had to read hard copy maps and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't find out until I was much older that you knew where you're fucking going anyways.
Well, at least I didn't give you a map with grid squares and gave you a linstatic compass or something. It's like, navigate me, boy.
Yeah, you're just driving out through the countryside with the lights off. I got a sextant looking out the window, like at the stars and shit. But so
GPS.
I had that joke, and then I had another one I wanted to talk about, which is the time where Casey, and this is a true story, where the time where Casey hit our neighbor's mailbox and just completely just wiped that bitch off. And she had a little dent in her car, and I was thinking, like, okay, so where can I mash these two jokes together, and how do I make that work? And then I realized, like, okay, Casey's also from divorced parents, so she has two brothers. So she didn't have to learn how to do anything. So that was the transition there from like, okay, yada, yada, divorced parent, forklift certified, no longer his kid, I'm an employee type situation, to like, okay, well, my wife also divorced parents, lived with dad, only daughter, though.
Took out a neighbor's mailbox.
Well, she didn't have to really learn how to do a lot of anything. In fact, her driving is bad. And that's the transition right there that people don't see, is like the driving is bad. So then you go through like the other joke. But all of that kind of fits into one giant joke.
Oh, yeah.
And in a set. And if you do it right, the audience doesn't even know when you're setting up for a joke because they're just so enthralled. They're so brought in. And you gotta keep the funnies going. You gotta keep the chuckles going.
I think one of the best things that I did as far as writing and everything goes was back when you were doing your best of competition, and we only had like 5 minutes. Was it 5 minutes for the best of competition?
That's probably about right.
And so I figured, what bit can I come up with in the last 5 minutes and crush it and everything. And then it dawned on me that don't take one bit and make it, squeeze it down to 5 minutes. take the punchlines from like 5 or 6 different bits and just do 1 minute on each.
Yeah.
And just pop the punchlines, set up the punchlines, and then punch it, and then go on to the next one. But you also want them kind of, I guess you can say, kind of themed to get together and everything. Because, I mean, yeah, you do want an even transition and a flow all the way through the set. But yeah, instead of doing a 5-minute bit and you're spending 4 minutes setting up a 1 minute punchline, do 6 different punchlines from your best bits.
Yeah, I guess as long as you can find a way to squeeze them together, I think it'll work.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do in my writing is, and I've showed people this too. They're like, "Oh my God, you're so like, hyper focused on your writing style." I think it's actually great. I would pull some up here and show it, but I got a bunch of concept stuff in there right now, which I think is a lot of funny stuff. Like if you ever write stuff on your phone, I always say if the FBI ever cracks into my phone, they're like, "This guy is fucking mental." This guy, because like I'll have just like
shut everything down. He's there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, well, I'll just have crazy stuff in my phone, like just like concepts, like I'll pull that.
Well,
up.
they'll probably start looking at some of your fucking conspiracy theories you have on your computer. It's like, yeah, we need to bring this guy in. He's got a few of them right.
Yeah, no, he's on to us. But so I will have maybe like a joke concept or something I kind of want to riff about, and I will just start writing it as if I am doing it on stage.
Yeah.
And just letting that be a completely unbroken, free thought. I'm just typing away. And then I'll get done with it, read it, edit it, work with it and everything like that. And then when I feel like it's close to like, okay, I think this is a functional joke. I feel like this is either like a part of a bit, a full bit or whatever. I will go in there and I'll highlight different parts of the material. And I use the black background, white text for mine for the high contrast. So all of my premises are in purple. So it's easy. Premise purple, right? Easy. So like, okay, what is this whole joke about? Boom, it's in purple. So I know when I'm like reading it and working with it, trying to, I wouldn't say memorize it, but remember the important parts. And then all my setups are in a cyan blue. Easy. Set up cyan. I know. And then all my punchlines are in red.
That just lines up very much with what Jen was talking about the other night about your freaking Virgo bullshit.
We're whole assers.
Are you Virgo or are Mary's Libra? You're Virgo.
Virgo.
Yeah. You're the last day of Virgo, and Mary's the first day of Libra.
Yes. But
it's like cyan blue.
Well, yeah, it's because it's easy to remember. Like setups are in cyan, punchlines are in red. You
can just tell me blue. There's no way. That's not cobalt blue. That's a cyan blue.
Mitch is losing his shit. That's cobalt. But why I do that is I start finding the fat in jokes. I start finding, because if it's not purple, cyan, or red, that's fat in the joke.
Yeah,
and I will start finding the fat, and I was like, okay, well, if it's stuff that I need to use for a setup, great, I'll keep it. But if I look at a joke that's written out and I've got 3 or 4 lines of just white or black text, however you want to do it, like all of that shit, you can get rid of.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
I was listening to a podcast one time. It wasn't a podcast. I heard something on Sirius Radio I was listening to. And I forgot who they were interviewing, but they said that some comedians will grind for weeks trying to take one word out of a set or add one word because they know that something in there. It's like that one bit that I do about the testosterone shots and everything. When I get to that one part about there's some woman in the waiting room banging on the door, I trip over that line every single time.
I saw you do it at the Comedy Couch last week.
Yeah. And I trip over that one part every time. So there's something in there that I need to, because it's a good bit. It's only like a minute and a half long at the very most. But there's something in there with that little transition and everything that I'm tripping over, and I'm not going to say I can't figure it out because I haven't stopped to try to figure it out yet, but there's something in there that's like causing me to stumble every time I get to it.
Well, change it up.
Yeah, I need to look at it.
Yeah, if the whole knocking on the bathroom or banging on the bathroom door thing, because it's almost too many short words banging on the bathroom door. Like there's too many B's in there.
Yeah,
you can try. You just change up the whole part of the joke. So you're like, well, to put your joke out for consideration. You talk about like, okay, I had to get my testosterone levels lower. It's like right after ejaculation. Fuck, change it to like, it'd be easier if my truck windows were darker tinted because that lady in the parking lot wouldn't stop staring.
Yeah, that woman in the parking lot wouldn't stop staring at me.
I have performance anxiety, you
yeah,
know.
Yeah, make it out in the parking lot. Don't make it in the waiting room bathroom.
Try something else. Yeah.
And that's part of the problem I had in the beginning was I was using the word waiting room and bathroom in the same sentence. And that was tripping me up. So maybe I'll move it out. So preview, the next time you see me, I'm gonna be jerking off in the parking lot.
Whoa, hey-o. So you're talking about the trying to shave one word and syllables off. That's a big Seinfeld thing.
Yeah,
Jerry Seinfeld does that big time. Like he'll write a joke and he will hold on to it and just try to figure out, how do I use different words and different meanings? And there's, like I said, there's a few books I keep on my table over here as I'm, because like I said, my office desk is right over there. But Jerry Seinfeld's Is This Anything is on the 3 books that I keep here. There's gonna be a 4th book that I keep
then
here.
We have Homeland Security.
Yeah, well, yeah, the one we were talking about carving names and shit. But I keep Rick Rubin's book here, The Creative Act, Jerry Seinfeld's Is This Anything? And then I have a Rolling Stones book of comedy here at the bottom. What year is
Rick
this?
Rubin, ain't he a record producer?
He is a record producer. Yeah, that is actually a really good book that he wrote, talking about the art of creativity and, just a bunch of stuff from his life. But, I have a Rolling Stones. I forget what year was this thing made. Being the son of a librarian, I know how to do this.
Yeah, you got to look for the publication date, ISBN number.
Yeah, 1991.
1991.
Yeah, so this is a
So
Rolling
it's like
Stones.
35 years.
Yeah. This is
Damn, I was hoping you'd give me credit for that. I did. That's 35 years.
Well, we'll let it slide.
Damn, dude. Yeah.
Look at you, public math.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, public education. I ciphered 3 numbers.
So this, I got this from like a used bookstore, but it has bios and pictures and stuff in here from
Steve Martin.
Yeah, from comedians.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Steve Martin.
Like Catherine O'Hara is in here. Howie Mandel is in here. Soupy Sales is in here. I mean, all these like what are now legendary comics, but back in 91, like these were just your average people. I mean, Robert Townsend's in here, Eddie Murphy. It is just
Soupy Sales. I remember Soupy Sales back in the 70s, and he was like, I think it was like one of the first physical comedians I've ever seen. I mean, he did a lot of physical comedy. So did Jerry Lewis.
I think he might be in here too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt he is. Jerry Lewis did a lot of physical comedy.
Yeah, Don Rickles is in here. I mean,
Don Rickles. Yeah, the original roaster. I mean, that dude could shred somebody.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tony Hinchcliffe ain't got nothing on fucking Don Rickles.
Look at how young David Letterman is in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's I guess that's Johnny Carson and David Letterman. That's like that's the legendary handover in comedy right there. So this book it's just full of, like legendary comedy. There's like a double feature here on Robin Williams, and I tell people all the time is like, if you want to know how crazy Robin Williams was, go watch the movie Patch Adams and then watch some of Robin Williams stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
it's like 2 different people.
Yeah,
it's completely crazy.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a 4th book put over here. I just got a new Anthony Bourdain book to put over here. I got to finish reading it first. This is the stack of books that are important
the stack of books you've actually read.
Yeah, that might be about it.
And one of them is like 90% pictures.
Well, since we've been talking about comedy, there is another YouTube page. Subscribe and watch this one, of course. But there's a comedy page out there called Comedy Without Errors on YouTube. Amazing content when it comes to comedy. I mean, it gets down into like some of the most nerdy details of performances and writing, and like, why does this work? Why does that work? I mean, they've got. I'm looking at it right now, and I'll share the guy's stuff, and if he gets upset, I'll take it down. But this is the Comedy Without Errors YouTube channel, and I mean, he's got good stuff. I mean, I watched this one about George Carlin, great stuff. Talk about Shane. He goes deep dive into Shane Gillis's delivery style and how amazing stuff.
Yeah. His whole thing where he holds the microphone. And he just, I mean, it's him. I mean, he's like, that's Shane Gillis. I mean, and I saw some guy at an open mic one night do that shit, and I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
That move's taken.
I mean, I don't know. You might be able to use it. Just don't,
don't overuse it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his move. I mean, he and it's that comedic pause. I mean, he don't even have to punch the line. He just holds the microphone. He just holds the microphone, and then he just goes like that. I mean, he lets you finish the punchline. He don't even have to write it.
I love that.
Yeah.
There are two videos on here. If I was going to tell somebody to watch any two videos that are just like really fascinating, it's these two videos right here, Finding Your Rhythm and then Finding Rhythm Part 2. They tie a lot of comedy timing and pacing and how a joke bounces along, and they contrast that with music, like how pleasing rhythms.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that.
I've seen. I don't know if it's the same video or not, but I've seen a video like that. Yeah, where they're talking about. Yeah, it's all tied with music and rhythm and everything. And
yeah.
And as a song is progressing, so should a joke.
And one of the coolest things that I'm pretty sure it's in the first video of that, talking about how comedy, like really good comedy, is almost like jazz.
Yeah.
Like you have like da 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 da.
Yeah. I've mentioned that to you and to actually several people where I was watching a podcast, and it's like they had this jazz musician and this brain surgeon on there, and they were like correlating how comedy was similar to jazz and everything. And the dude said that with jazz, it's like you have all these instruments that are dropping in and out and everything, and every time they have a change, it releases dopamine in your brain. And it's the same way comedy works. You're setting up a joke, and then you get the audience to buy into it, and then you hit the punchline, and your brain releases dopamine, and that creates a laugh response. But the problem is and the trick is, how long do you sell it, and how well do you sell it? Because number one, you have to sell it well, but also you don't want to sell it to the point where you start losing the room, because you have to be able to get them to buy in, and then boom, you hit them with the punchline.
Yeah.
And that's what releases the dopamine and everything. So that's the trick to comedy. And when I heard that, and I was like, damn, that's fucking brilliant.
Yes. And it's one of the things that I remember when you and I first started doing. You will never agree of who started comedy first, because
you started comedy first. I'll give that to you
by I don't know,
by 3
weeks.
or 4 months. I'll give you 3 or 4 months, because
right.
It was post-pandemic and I was still working at Lowe's and shit. So
yeah, well, your post-retirement bullshit job at Lowe's is the funniest. I will never forget that. You're like, I'm retired. I don't need to do anything else. I'm just going to mow my grass and play golf. And then 3 months later, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, Dad, you're successful. Like, you're retired. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm bored. I'm going to go work at Lowe's. And that lasted until the holiday season when they're like, we need you to come in at 4:30 to set up this Halloween display.
Yeah. I think I worked there probably right out of a year. And yeah, once they started like asking me to come in like at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, you're like, I'm retired. I don't do hours that start with 0.
No.
But what I was going to tell you though is whenever I was helping you along with some of the comedy stuff as you helped me as well, is about timing. Because when I was listening to you, especially hosting the Comedy Couch, you get to see you do it multiple times, and then you iterate a joke and develop a joke. I noticed early on, I could tell that you were reading your jokes and then working through that timing as you're reading, because whenever you're on stage, you knew the material, but it's almost like you were doing a TED Talk where everything was scripted and everything was timed, and it felt very clunky. It felt very... the timing was off. I could tell that you were reading and memorizing a joke versus understanding the joke and being able to flow in and out of the punchlines.
I freaking own that, because one of the things I used to do to get ready for like when we were doing open mic at Dirtbag and everything, I would have the house to myself, and I had my bit that I was going to do that night. And I would literally walk around the house with a golf ball in my hand, doing this with a golf ball.
Man, what was that?
I would walk around with my balls in my hand, and I was very rhythmic, and basically I was just talking through the bit, and what that causes is not only are you basically robotic and you're just reading out the bit, but you're not allowing the joke to breathe, and you're not allowing the room to take it in and respond, and you're not allowing for laugh pauses and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're just blowing through a joke and you're reading it verbatim as you had it written on paper because you sat there and studied it for 4 fucking hours earlier that day, then no, the joke's not going to work. You've got to be able to internalize the bit and live it and experience it and deliver it to the room in a way where they take it in the same time you do.
Yeah. And
damn, that was fucking brilliant. That was some fucking deep shit. Well, and I'm not even going to charge people for that.
Maybe we'll have like a joke doctor portion of this, or like give us your jokes and we'll check them out.
Yeah,
or your
fuck
videos.
Yeah. Send us your jokes. We'll analyze them and tell them how fucked up they are.
I can't even tell you how many times I've come off a stage or like, man, I fucked up that last part of the joke, or I've messed up like this, like that was supposed to come slightly before that, or like I messed up that line.
But nobody knows.
That is the fucking magic. Nobody knows but you. Unless somebody's been there and they've heard your jokes. Like Casey goes to tons and tons of shows, so she's heard the same jokes. If she notices, I highly doubt it. But like I did, even just the Anchor Alley's open mic, I did the joke I was just telling you about that I'm kind of like working on and ironing out and everything. I messed up the order of the ending a little bit, but the room was still laughing. The room was still into the joke, and I still had them, and it wasn't like it was so egregious that they're like, ew, what the fuck was that? But I got off stage and I was like, man, I messed up the ending of that joke. And Heather Burby was like, that was amazing. I'm like, yeah, but I fucked up the ending. She goes, well, nobody's going to know. I was like, exactly.
Nobody knows. I forgot the other night at Patty's, I forgot a couple of lines in the bit that I did. And I tell you what, having 8 minutes the other night was nice. It was. I mean, it was only 8 minutes, but as compared to 5 minutes, yeah, it was nice to be able to stretch out and kind of do a little bit longer set and everything. But yeah, I forgot a couple of lines in part of my bit and everything, and I got back to the table and I'm like, well, nobody knows but me.
The room was still laughing and enjoying it. So
yeah.
One of the things I mentioned it to Jen on the previous episode of this, where when I first started doing comedy regularly, and people were asking, "Hey, can you come by and open this show? Like, we'll give you 5 minutes." I'm like, "Fuck, dude, 5 minutes feels like forever when you're first starting comedy." But now, like, I'm so used to doing 25, 30, 35 minutes or more that the only thing that kind of ever messes me up is if if another producer says, "Hey, can you come by and do 25 minutes?" I'm like, great, I'll do a long opener or a feature or whatever else. And then you get there, they're like, "Hey, actually, can you cut it down to 15 minutes? Like, I don't know why, but I think cutting it down now, it's like, well, shit, now I kind of had this whole thing planned out where this joke gets slotted in there, and I'm going to find out where I need to cut and still be, effective and funny and stuff like that. Like, cutting it is to me, like, that's the stressful one.
Yeah, because you have everything set up where it's going to segue into different bits and everything. So yeah, stretching it out to me wouldn't be a problem, but cutting it down. But yeah, I remember back when we were doing open mic at Dirtbag and everything, and there's a fucking gnat in my bourbon.
Oh no, you want my glass?
No, it's empty, but that's gonna be one drunk motherfucker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that one time that Minda asked me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say her name, but
we'll allow it.
I was going to say, what was that chick's name again?
We'll beep it out.
But yeah, she said, "Do you think you can do 10 minutes?" I went, "Oh my God, 10 minutes! I don't know if I can do 10 minutes."
Yeah,
I
have 3 jokes.
Yeah. That was back in the early days. Yeah, I need to drag out. I've got a lot of handwritten notes from 4 years ago when we first started doing comedy and everything. I ought to drag that shit out and just kind of go through it and see what I see.
Yeah, I cracked open my my comedy list over here because unlike you being a heathen Android user. As an Apple user.
Yeah, and not only is he a steak sauce hater, he's an Android hater.
I can write notes on my phone that auto save to my laptop, and from my laptop to auto save to my phone. So,
oh, bless your heart.
I know, you better look the fuck out. But I mean, we talk about like random stuff in your phone notes of like joke concepts. Like, I cracked mine open. This one just says, "They say your dreams mean things, but not when you take Walmart brand melatonin." You're just dreaming of, like, it looks like the intro to American Horror Story. He's like, and just like lobsters and shit. That's Walmart melatonin.
Sure. They have on the bottle it says 10 milligrams with an asterisk. Underneath of it says an approximation. It could be 12. It could be 8.
It's to each their own.
Yeah.
I've accidentally bought 10 milligram melatonin before, which they make single melatonin, like 10 milligram melatonin gummies. And you're thinking like, oh yeah, it's the same brand. Whatever, just snatch it off the shelf and thinking it's like a 3 milligram. Because to me, a 3 milligram, I'm gone, son. Dunzo.
Yeah.
A 10 milligram, I just time traveled.
Yeah.
Just into the future.
Well, there was a point in my life where I was eating 10 milligram melatonin like it was Skittles, and not even. I mean, when I was working shift work and everything, I'd get home in the morning, take a 10 milligram melatonin and a shot of ZzzQuil, and get about 4 hours of rough sleep.
There's another one here that just says, "My grocery store has a bar in it." I think I probably wrote that one at Harris Teeter over there in Jack Bread.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, if they go through what they're talking about building the Harris Teeter around the corner from me and they put a fucking bar in that, it's on. Yeah. They're supposed to be over there on Chickenfoot Road.
Here's another one for you. This joke, I actually wrote most of it out, and I didn't really have a way of working it out to the end. I had this idea that you could take some of the lessons learned from psychology and you could train a DoorDasher. That you could do something where you buy a Starbucks coffee every day at 2:00 and then you request the same DoorDasher to bring it to you, but you also bring them a coffee, or you buy them a coffee. Like, hey man, I bought me one. What do you want? I'll buy you a Starbucks too. And then you do that for months, and then every day around 2:00, you know, they're
You
like,
don't even have to call them.
you don't even have to call them. You're like, every day, it's like the Pavlov's dog thing. Every day about 2:00, they're like, I could really use a coffee right now. But then before that, you got to give them your number. So they text you. They're like, hey, do you want anything from coffee? So you go from having a DoorDasher to really having a coffee assistant at that point.
Yeah.
Where every day at 2:00, they're like, I think I kind of want a caramel macchiato.
Yeah, mouth starts watering.
I had all the parts of the joke there, but I was like, how do I write this into a bit? Like, how do I take this funny concept of taking a DoorDasher and befriending them and training them?
Yeah, you could just do some sort of like a freaking social experiment on them.
Oh yeah, yeah. We told like, hey, well, I got a lot of time on my hands. You know, I got a lot of time on my hands, so I want to see. Or you're like, oh, I have a degree in something that I never use, but I use it in the real world, and people don't know I use it.
Oh my god.
Well, listen, let's get out of here.
Yeah, we can sit here and bullshit. We can sit here and bullshit for another hour and a half, probably.
Well, we're about an hour into this. Actually, an hour and 10 minutes into this. We might have to break this up into a part A, part B.
Yeah.
You know, we'll split it right there at the comedy part. But anyways, I always give the guest the opportunity for words of wisdom to anybody out there.
Well, the words of wisdom that I gave my grandson, my great grandson, actually, Jackson, on the day that he was born, 9/11 was an inside job. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Don't be a piece of shit out there. Bye.